What's up, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. So I know I've been away for a while now, and it's all because I wasn't well, and so I had to take some time off the chat, right? But now I'm back, and I will be providing you with quality information that is going to take your trading to the next level, okay? So I'll be making a breakdown of a trade, a very, very good trade, which I took last week on EURUSD. And I'm sharing this with you because it contains a very good trade that I want to share the thought process with you guys so that you can get some good knowledge or good information from it to add to your trading arsenal, okay? So before we delve into that breakdown, the trades that you see on your screens, right, are trades which I took today on EURUSD. That's 7th July. It was a Thursday, right? So do well to backtest these trades, right? There's a lot of good stuff to learn from just these ones, okay? Also, make sure that if you are not subscribed to the channel, you're going to hit that subscribe button real quick. Turn on post notifications so that you don't miss out on other future important videos, okay? And also do well to leave a comment in the comment section, okay? So with that being said, let us jump straight onto the chart and let's break down the trade. Alright guys, so this is the trade that we will be breaking down today. Okay, so quickly I'm going to use the bar replay tool and re-engineer price back to where we had the entry, right? And I'm going to step into my higher time frames. Okay, so real quick on the daily, if you've been following my forecast videos, my previous forecast videos, right, you remember that I quickly said that I had this, breakout structure of the daily, and I had this level of daily demand, right, which I was looking at for price to, take to the upside, right? But even though we didn't have that, that push to the upside, but it was still fine. And looking at price action in here, it might look choppy on the daily time frame, but if I should step into lower time frames, you're going to see something nice. And that was actually where I got my entries. Okay, so on the 4-hour time frame from my previous forecast videos, right, I said that H4 had made a breakout structure to the upside, and so personally I was looking for price to come into this level of demand, even though I didn't get that move into that level of demand, right? In here I had this push to the upside on H1. Okay, so let me go into the H1 time frame, and I think this was my last forecast video that I did. Okay, and I fell sick and I couldn't come back to do any forecast video again. So from my previous forecast video, I was saying that this was the last point of H1 supply, right? And I was expecting price to come into these levels. Then we can look for confirmations to take price into that H4 demand, which price didn't get into, right? But then after that, what can we see? We realized that this last point of H1 supply that we were looking at got taken out, right? So H1 becomes bullish, aligning with what? H4, okay? And we had a retracement, even though not a deeper retracement, but we had it into certain levels of M15, right? And price pushed all the way back to the upside, right? And so we've had another follow-through breakout structure on H1, okay? But remember, this is the target liquidity of H4 that we are looking at price to get into, okay? So after this H1 push to the upside, we know that this becomes our H1 demand zone that we're looking at. We had two demand zones. First one was in here as a decisional demand, right? And the second one in here as an origin demand. And we can see how price, reacted when it came to all of these demand zones, okay? So the first demand zone that it came to as a decisional demand, we had that reaction, okay? No confirmation to take the trades to the upside, that is fine. But we had a good reaction. The same way when it came into this original origin demand zone, we had that beautiful reaction. We can see all those bullish candles in here where price was making an attempt to push to the upside. But again, it failed. Okay, so let me take all of these drawings of the screens. So after this, demand zone failing, we had H1 breaking structure to the downside once more. So what can we see price is doing? Price is ranging within this H4 swing leg, okay? And until this low of the H4 is taken out, H4 is still bullish, right? So whatever you are seeing in here is just internal price action, H1 and 15, right? And you need to act accordingly. This is one of the reasons why I say that you always need to act in accordance to what price is saying and not what you think, okay? So we've had H1 break structure to the downside once more, and on a normal day you'll be looking at price to come into certain levels of what H1, then we can look for sales to the downside, right? By looking at what price did in here, we can see that we didn't get that confirmation to move to the downside, right? But even just from the H1, we can see this wick reaction, right, after tapping into this level of supply, almost trying to make that push to the downside, but failed, and rather led to a break of structure of the H1. Okay, so again, H1 has switched from a bearish one to a bullish one. Okay, so let me indicate this here real quick. So H1 break of structure to the upside. Okay, now after this whole crazy price action, breaking structures up and down, right? Now I have H1 breaking structure to the upside, and I'll mark my demand zones. Okay, so if I look at this first candle, this first bearish candle in here, sorry with that one. So if I look at this first bearish candle in here, the wicks were not engulfed by the bodies of the next candle. The same with this bullish candle, this pin bar, the wicks were not engulfed by the next candle's body, right? The same with this one, and it was this one that had its wicks being engulfed by the bodies of the next candle, right? So that becomes my candle to look at as my point of interest, right? But because the whole H1 swing leg started from here, I'm going to extend my demand zone from this last point to the start of this whole H1 swing leg. Okay, so I'm gonna have my demand zone like this. I'm gonna have my demand zone like this nicely, and we can see how price comes into this demand zone and taps into it nicely, right? So bear in mind, H1 is bullish, H4 is also bullish, right? Great. So I'm going to step into my 15-minute time frame, and let's see what 15-minute was doing. Okay, so on the 15-minute time frame, look at how beautiful price comes into this demand zone and gives us that change of intent, right? So this was the last point of 15-minute supply, right? That made a push to the downside. Okay, breaking structures to the downside, price comes back, and we take out that last point of supply. You can see that real quick. And so we had that change of intent on the 15-minute, telling us that price is ready to what? To make a bullish move. Apart from that, what other confluences do we have, right? So we have that change of intent to the upside. So after this change of intent, what can we say about this price action that is building up, right? We can say that H4 is bullish, H1 is also bullish, M15 is also bullish. So we have all these intraday time frames aligning. Okay, great. So after this change of intent, right, I could have had an entry from this point, right? But I decided to wait for another, follow through break or structure on the M15, confirming that price wants to really make a move to the upside, right? And the reason why I waited for that further confirmation of the M15 was the fact that, price was making this, break of structures of H1 highs and lows. And so I needed further confirmation, right? So fast forward, I had this break of structure of the M15 confirming the the bullish intent of price, right? So this follow through break of structure confirmed that bullish intent of price. And once again, I'll mark my demand zone, right? So on the normal day, it's supposed to be from this candle, right? Well, we can see we had that break of structure internally. Price comes down, mitigates this candle right in here, and makes a push. Okay, apart from that, we can tell that it was from this candle that we had that break of structure of the M15. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to mark that candle as my demand. okay, but I'm not going to limit it to just that low. I'm going to come down to the start of that M15 swing leg. Okay, so this is going to be my demand zone on M15, and I'm going to expect price to come into this level. Then I can look for confirmations to the upside. Okay, so we can see price coming back down into this M15 demand zone, stepping into the 5-minute time frame to see what price was doing. Okay, so in here on the 5-minute, we can see what price was doing, right? Price making all these fractal, price deliveries, right? So this was the last point that we were looking at, right? And look what happened in here. If you've watched my video on the entries, you're gonna see that in as much as this level was a point of supply where we're looking for price to react off, right? I still had that confidence to take the buys from the side. Why? Okay, so this is the whole swing leg that we're looking at, but within that swing leg, we can see price making what? Follow through breakout structures. Okay, and that tells me that momentum is still to the upside, and so I need to respect that. I need to respect order flow, right? So even though this last point of supply has not been taken out yet, I'm still confident to take my buys because I have this follow through breakout structures happening. Okay, so normally what you're going to do is that you could have taken this buys right after the breakout structures, but you're going to have your entry kind of right in here, and your stop loss will be below these lows for like, let's say 10 pips, right? But I decided to wait for further confirmations, right? Then I can take the trade on the 1-minute time frame. Okay, so we've had that breakout structure, and instead of taking that entry over there, I'm going to mark this level in here again. Okay, so you can see that I'm repeating the same process and stepping into lower time frames. So I'm going to step back into my lower time frame, 1 minute, and let's see what price was doing. Okay, so fast forward, price comes into this demand zone, right, which I was looking at, and we can see that everything within this leg has been mitigated, right, except for this candle in here. Okay, and so we had that beautiful mitigation nicely, right, and we had that push to the upside right in here. We had that push to the upside, right? So right in here we had price putting in what? Lower highs and lower lows, right? Really nice. And this was my last high that made a low. Okay, now after that, what would I be looking at? I'll be looking at price to take out this high in here. Okay, so if this high takes out, if price takes out this high, then I'll be looking forward to buy. Okay, now if I zoom in real quick, you're gonna see that this push to the upside did not take out the high. You can see it didn't take out the high. It left like some kind of relatively equal highs, right? So I needed further confirmation until I had this push, right, breaking these highs. Okay, so I had this push to the upside, taking out the highs, a follow through push, right? Then I knew that I was good to go with this entry. Okay, and I know that someone will be asking me that we had equal lows in here. That is liquidity. So why would you still go ahead to take out this buys? It is just because I understand that this whole swing leg here has everything mitigated, and so there was nothing that price was like coming to do to take out this equal lows or whatsoever. Everything has been mitigated. Okay, great. And moreover, this wasn't the windows in which you'll be getting like traps and all. This is New York, right? It was getting close to the close of New York around 6 p.m. GMT my time, right? And so this candle became my entry, and my stop loss was right below this structure for 4.5 pips, right? And let's see what price did. Price just came back, tapped into my entry, and flew to the upside, right? So switch to the M15 so that price could play out faster, right? So we can see, I'm going to forward this real quick. So fast forward, we have our TP hit, right? And personally, I took like 90% of my volume at 1:20, right? No greed, right? I don't want to be greedy, even though I understand that price was supposed to get to this target liquidity at 1:20. I am okay, and I took just 90% of my volume, allow the rest to run to 1:21, right? So this is the trade, and I hope you found enough value in this breakdown. If you did, kindly hit that like button, leave a comment in the comment section. Okay, so see you in the next video.